Hello, my name is Jay Brandis. I'm a librarian with Troy University. Today I'm going to show you a little bit about the JSTOR Arts and Sciences database. First thing I want to tell you about the database is that within JSTOR, it will let you, quote-unquote, log in and create an account that you can use just with JSTOR. What that will do is let you save articles into a folder, and it will let you save searches that you've done so that you can perform that search again in the future. If you use JSTOR a lot, that's something that's perfectly fine to do, but don't count on it. Don't let that be the only place that you keep your articles and your searches, because as with all things electronic, things on the internet, they break down, they change, they don't always work. So it's fine to, if you want to create a JSTOR account, but don't rely on it as your only place to keep that information. JSTOR is very straightforward. There's the search box that appears on the opening screen, and the three main ways you're going to search any database are for a particular author, for a particular article that you're looking for, or for a topic or subject that you're looking for. Usually you're going to do that subject search, but occasionally there's an author or a specific article that you're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that first. Let's say the author, you can see I've got some things marked here. Let's say I'm looking for Kenneth Waltz. It is helpful to put things in quotation marks when you want exactly those words in exactly that order. So I'm going to perform a search for Kenneth Waltz. JSTOR is primarily a journal article database. It does have some books and some other things, but for the most part what we're finding are articles. So when I said look for these two words together, Kenneth Waltz, JSTOR is saying I have 1,685 things. Well, 1,684 of them are journal articles or reviews that appear in journals. One of them is a book or a book chapter. Not everything here is going to be written by Kenneth Waltz. We see that this is, but this is not. It's simply looking for these two words together anywhere in the text of all of the information that it contains. Once I see an article by Kenneth Waltz, something that's what I'm looking for, if I click on his name, magic will happen. It says, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about this author, AU for author, Kenneth N. Waltz, and that's the way it formats its search when it's looking for an author. Let's do this a slightly different way. I'm going to go into the advanced search, and even on the home page, where we've got that main search box, I can click advanced search and I'll get the advanced search page. I can tell it that I'm looking for Kenneth Waltz, or do I want Waltz Kenneth? Okay, this is a question that comes up a lot. Which way should I do it? Try it both ways. As it happens with JSTOR, it doesn't matter. It'll work fine either way. And instead of looking in the full text of the article, we're going to look by author. So they've assigned an author field to each of the items in the database. So here I'm telling it, look for these two words, but only in that author field. And so go ahead and do the search. And it says, here are things with Kenneth Waltz in the author field. So things by him, written by him. So if you have a particular author in mind, that's one way to go in and see if there's anything written by him or by her. I'm going to come back to the home page. And I said, sometimes you've got an article, and maybe your instructor has told you it's in JSTOR, maybe a librarian has told you that it's in JSTOR. You can just pop the title right in there, do the search, and if it's in here, you shouldn't have any trouble. Now this one has a pretty long title. The New Ice Age, the Dawn of Arctic Shipping, and Canada's Fight for Sovereignty over the Northwest Passage. Usually you don't have to get that detailed. Use the first few words, something that's unique to the article. I can put the New Ice Age. That might be close enough. Here it is right here. So a few words will often get the article that you're looking for. or a combination of unique words from the title like Ice Age and the author's, if they've got a unique name, so Caitlin. There's only going to be so many things written by someone named Caitlin about Ice Age. So even though I'm just using 3 words for an article with a very long title, here it is, it pops right up. So don't get carried away with the author and the title and the name of the journal and the volume of the issue. Just sort of throw in what you have as a first try and see if you get what you're looking for. So there's the article that we're looking for. Again, sometimes you're looking for an author, sometimes you're looking for an exact journal, article, but most frequently you have a topic in mind, you have a subject in mind. Start with one word, one term, a few words. Don't get carried away. I'm going to show you a little bit about how not only JSTOR works, but some of the principles I'm going to show you apply to other databases. Sort of like when I said you can create an account in JSTOR, databases from the EBSCO company, databases from the ProQuest company, they also let you create an account. That's fine to use if you want it, just don't rely on it. I'm going to do a search for international relations theory. And what's going to happen is it's going to look for these 3 words somewhere in the text of the articles and books and other materials that it has. I simply click on the button and it does a search for me. It comes back and it says, I have a little over 290,000 things. Some of them will deal with international relations theory, some will not. It's just looking for these 3 words. A trick to searching more effectively is when you have a phrase, a multi-word phrase, if you put quotation marks around it, it's going to tell the database, look for those words in that order. So I went from almost 300,000 things down to 5,663. So most of those things really didn't have those 3 words in that order in them. So I've applied the quotation marks. That's a good way to make it think about what you really want. And then use these connector words. Use and. The connector word, Boolean operator, is sometimes a term you'll hear. So I would say international relations theory and China. And if you're thinking, Jay, why aren't you capitalizing China? I don't capitalize anything. The database doesn't care, so you're better off not capitalizing. Sometimes things will be case sensitive. They will care if you capitalize or not. So you're better off just, if you can make your finger in your brain do it. When I'm doing searching, I just never capitalize anything. So here I've got 2,000 things dealing with international relations theory and China. One thing that JSTOR does, and a lot of other databases are starting to do, again, those from the EBSCO company and those from the ProQuest company, which are commonly used by students, it's sorting things by relevance. Sometimes the database does a good job at deciding what's relevant, sometimes it does not. Your options are typically to change them to by date order. So some people will want to see them new to old, and then you can decide what's relevant or not relevant to you. So we've got 2,000 things on this topic. ProQuest is neat in that virtually everything you see is available as full text. It's letting you see it online, or it's letting you download it. So people like JSTOR because they know when I search JSTOR, if I find something, I can get my eyes on it right away. Well, that's not exactly true. I'm going to show you a little trick here. If you look at your results list, the default in JSTOR is to only show you things to which the university has subscribed. Now, we try and subscribe to the things that pertain to the programs we offer, but we don't subscribe to everything, every piece of information out there in the world. So in JSTOR, you can actually expand your search a little bit to all content. So right now we've got a little over 2,000 things. I can tell it all content, and that number will increase. So I got a few hundred more things. Yeah, so there's actually a little more in JSTOR than you see right away if you know how to expand it. So these things with a little X, it's saying, hey, I know about these things, I know about these books, I know about these articles, but they're not online right here in the database. Well, what do? Troy University has an interlibrary loan system. You fill out a form. We'll either mail the book to you if it's a physical book, or if it's an article, we can get a copy of it electronically and send it to you. So JSTOR defaults to show you things that are full text, but you can expand that a little bit if you want to see everything that the database indexes. I'm going to perform that same search, but I'm going to let the database help me build the search. I'm going to click here on Advanced Search. Instead of my typing in the Boolean operators, the and, the or, and the not, I'm going to let the database do it. So I'm going to say, I want international relations theory, and I want China. I go ahead and click, and it does the search for me. So instead of having to remember, exactly how do I format that, I can let the database do it for me. Let's go ahead and do a little more complicated search. Again, I'm going to come in here, do Advanced Search, and I'm going to tell it I am interested in the IOC, that's the International Olympic Committee, and I'm interested in Olympics. I don't bother to capitalize. And I am interested in corruption. So IOC and Olympics and corruption. I let it build the search for me. I tell it go ahead and search. It finds 49 items, and that's terrific. Let me go back and I'm going to modify the search. I have an option to modify the search. Now it is looking in the full text. It's looking throughout articles. That's why sometimes you get things that aren't quite on target because it's looking everywhere in the article. So you may have an urge to just look in the abstract, just look in the summary of the article for those words. Let me show you what happens. Note, approximately 10% on JSTOR of articles on JSTOR have abstracts. To widen your search, remove the abstract filter to search article full text. Yeah, so I went from 49 to 1 when I did that. If you want to use that limit to abstract, that's fine, but I have not found that to be particularly useful. In other databases where almost everything has an abstract, that is a useful tool. But in JSTOR, it's going to look in the full text of every article. So if you feel like you're getting a little too much or things aren't quite on topic, you're not really seeing the words that you're looking for, that's why. That's how it's searching. Let me move on and show you a little bit about the things that are good and not so good in JSTOR. I'm going to go back to the advanced search, and I'm going to do that. Oh, I'm here already. I'm going to do my IOC search, IOC, and Olympics, add a field, corruption, there we go. Go ahead and do my search. Relevance is okay, especially there's only 49 things. I can eyeball them all. But I'm going to go here and give them to me new to old. You can download the PDF. Almost everything in JSTOR, well, by default, everything in there, you can either view it online as a page image or you can download it. Some of the articles will have subject headings that you can click on and move around in JSTOR. That's very useful. So, example, here's a subject heading that was assigned Summer Olympic Games. If I click on that, let me see what it finds. Okay. Nothing. I've had this happen before. So it'll suggest things to you that, and then you say, well, why did you suggest that to me? But you don't seem to have anything. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Let me try this one, economic impact analysis. There we go. So a little peculiar. So it can be a useful tool, and sometimes it can be a confusing tool. Let me warn you about something, not only in JSTOR, but every database that you'll come across. If they offer you citation tools, don't trust them. We like to repeat that. Don't trust citation tools that you find online, particularly within databases. They're trying to be helpful, but they're not going to do a perfect job, and you don't want to get in trouble with your instructor. I'm going to click on Cite This Item just to show you a little bit about this particular one. Typically, if you're using JSTOR, you're probably citing things APA style. So these authors look okay, but if all of a sudden you notice that the capitalization isn't right, these words should not be capitalized, but they are. It's not the worst thing in the world, and you may know how to clean that up, but it's definitely not giving you the correct information, the correct format. And then at the end, it's saying retrieved from, and it's giving you this address. That's not really how APA style is going to work for this article. APA prefers if a digital object identifier, a DOI, is available for an article that you use that. So if I click here, I'm going to click on download the PDF of the article. Yes, I agree. Go ahead and show me the article. It's going to bring it up for me in PDF format. And then I'll be able to read it online. I can print it, I can save it. Definitely when you get things from the database, save them. If you see the stable URL, it's really only useful if you're logged into the library databases. So if you want to hang on to that, that's okay, but it's not as stable or useful as it might appear. So here's the article. I'm looking at the first page of the article. When I get down to the bottom, I can see that, in fact, this article does have a digital object identifier. The DOI is this number here, starting with the 10. That's the DOI itself. This prefix here, that's information that'll help you to retrieve something on the internet. So if you were to pop this whole string into your browser, you'd find a little bit of information about the article and possibly access to it. So if an article has a DOI, that's what APA, in fact, yeah, they've clarified it over here, that's nice. That's what APA wants for the documentation, if it has it. Now look at this second one here. This one does not have a DOI. I know because I looked earlier today. But let's come over and look at the Cite This Item tool. Again, it's capitalized all the letters in the author's name. You probably know that's incorrect, and you can go ahead and change it. Again, you would, if you copied this, you'd have to go in and change some of this capitalization because it's not right. But then it's got this retrieved from information, and it's trying to be helpful, and it's giving you what it thinks is a stable URL, but it's not really. What APA style wants, if you don't have a DOI, is it wants the web address of the journal. So what you would do is you take the journal name, you pop it into Google, and make sure you've clearly identified the web address of the journal. When you go to use your citation tools, your APA manual, your websites, they'll show you how to document things that either do or don't have DOIs. But the point I'm trying to make here is don't trust the citation tools in the databases. They don't work exactly right. Let me show you one more way to use that advanced search to build a search. So far we were searching with the and. We were connecting things together. We were limiting our search. But sometimes you have terms where you're not sure which way things are going to be listed or what word the author has used. So you want to use the or connector. You want to or things together. So let's say I'm looking for Yeti, but I'm not sure if the author has used Yeti or if they've used Bigfoot, and I'm going to add another field here, or if they've used Sasquatch, or they could have used Abominable Snowman. So I'm not sure which one of these they've used. If I go ahead and do the search, it'll say, oh, I made a mistake here. Look at that. I anded them. You can see I said Yeti or Bigfoot and this and that. No, that's not what I want to do. Let me come back and modify my search. I want to say or. Give me anything with Yeti, or Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, or Abominable Snowman. Here we go. That way it's finding anything it's got with any of those words. If we want to narrow it down there, from there, then we could add another term like and myth. So we're saying, give me things with this concept, the concept of large creatures that live in the snow and the mountains, and mythology. So you can use that advanced search tool to look for, connect your terms together, sometimes with and, sometimes with or. There is a not operator, but you have to be very careful about using that. If you put not in there, sometimes you'll knock out things that you are looking for, things that are good, and that is not a good thing. We come back one more time when we come to back to the advanced search. I'm going to show you how you can limit things to a particular journal. So if you know the name of a journal that is in the JSTOR database, you can pop it in down here under publication title. And I am putting that in quotation marks because I don't want to look for just journals where those two words appear somewhere in the title of the journal. I want those two words to appear right in that order. I really want, that's the title of the journal I'm looking for. And up here I'm going to look for pollution. So pollution is my topic, but I only want to find things in their journal called International Organization. I go ahead and I do my search, and it says I found 254 things that deal with pollution and that are in something with a publication title that includes the word International Organization. So you see here, article in International Organization, article in International Organization. Again, they're coming in relevance order. I like to flip them new to old. I like to sort them out myself, but you're welcome to leave it however you'd like. In closing, I'm going to show you one little trick. I'm going to come back to search. I'm going to do the advanced search. Maybe you're interested in browsing through everything that's in the journal called International Organization. But it won't let you do it. If I try and do the search now with just the publication title filled in, it'll say, we could not complete your search because nothing has been entered in the search form. Please try again. It's saying, well, I need to know what you want me to search on. You're like, I want to see everything. Just give it something that's going to appear in every single article. I use the letter A. So if I search on A, anything with A in it from International Organization, it comes back with over 4,000 things. If I tell it new to old, then it's going to bring me all these articles. I'm going to see the newest ones first. You look here and you might be saying, hey Jay, 2003, that was a few years ago. I mean, something about JSTOR database. They specialize in complete runs of journals, or almost complete runs, from the first issue to the not too distant past. So the function of this database isn't to provide up-to-date everything you can get from journals. It's sort of an archive. Well, hence the name, JSTOR, or Journal Storage. It's going back. It's a good repository of historical information. So will you get the most recent articles? Not always, but it is a good place to look for material. Again, some of the principles here only apply to JSTOR, but a lot of them will apply to other databases that you use. As always, if you need assistance using any of the library databases or any of the other library resources, contact your library for assistance.